Hey Dragon Slayers, today's video is about how eat less, move more doesn't work for most people long term, part 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. Let's get started. So when doctors advise people to watch their blood pressure and cholesterol, they watch their blood pressure and cholesterol. Yet somehow, when doctors advise people to eat less and move more, they didn't. It's very doubtful. This way of thinking is also known as blaming the victim. We assume the advice is good, and therefore, if it fails, it must be because the person didn't really follow the advice. This shifts the blame from the advice giver to the advice taker. Americans have, in fact, followed the government's nutritional guidelines. The USDA's first dietary guidelines for Americans was released in 1977. It recommended that Americans adjust their diets to meet two specific goals: to the increased consumption of carbohydrates and reduce intake of total fat. Although caloric reduction was not specified in that goal, the reduction of dietary fat was expected to reduce calories, since fat is calorically dense compared to carbohydrates. Since 1970, consumption of vegetables, fruits, and grains has increased, and consumption of red meat, eggs, and animal fats has declined, just as the USDA's dietary guidelines recommended. But the promised benefits never materialized. The second possible conclusion, the only one that remains, is that the advice to eat less and move more is simply wrong. And the scientific studies back this up. We've known about the abysmal success rate of the caloric reduction approach, the one that's based on simply reducing calories consumed and increasing calories burned for decades. A 1959 study estimated its failure rate at a sky-high 98%. Only 2% of dieters using a caloric reduction strategy were able to maintain a 20-pound weight loss for 2 years. Since 1970, Americans have largely followed the government's dietary recommendations. At the same time, the obesity epidemic has exploded. More recently, in 2015, researchers in the United Kingdom reviewed the weight loss rates of more than 175,000 obese men and women over the previous 9 years. The probability of achieving a normal weight by caloric reduction alone was 0.8% in women and 0.47% in men. So the best case scenario using conventional calorie counting methods is a 99.2% failure rate. Even the very best study ever done on caloric restriction as a path to lasting weight loss showed that it failed. The Women's Health Initiative, a gigantic randomized control trial, followed almost 52,000 women over 7.5 years. One group of the women followed a low-fat, low-calorie diet, high in grains, fruits, and vegetables, and reduced their total daily calories by 316. Their percentage of calories from fat was reduced from 38.8% to 29.8%. They also increased their amount of exercise by 14%. The other group followed their usual diet. The expected weight loss for the low-calorie, increased exercise group was 36 pounds per year, or 252 pounds over the 7 years. The other group was not expected to see any weight loss. The final results were a complete shock to everybody involved. The actual difference in weight loss between the two groups was not even 2 pounds. Worse still, The average waist size in the low calorie group and the low calorie increased exercise group grew from 35 to 35.4 inches. These women who so carefully followed the eat less, move more strategy for so long actually ended up fatter than ever. There's a better known example of this to be found in The Biggest Loser, a long running reality TV show that pits those contestants against one another in a bid to lose the most weight. While short term results are often stunning, contestants nearly always regain weight after filming ends. Kai Hibbard, the winner of season 3, said of participating on the show, "It was the biggest mistake of my life." Season 2's Susan Mendonca says that there is never a reunion show because we're all fat again. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. And remember, guys, that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.